Side, welcome in. Let's have a look. Hey, I'm honestly thinking about using my free hit this game week. I've got Enzo, Semenyo, and Guehi. Two of them might play, but I'm not even sure if they'll start. I think that Guehi, he Glasner said that he was fit enough to play, so I think definitely that Guehi will play. Enzo Fernandez as well. He will at least get minutes. He has trained for Chelsea in their last training session, so I think that Semenyo was really hard to call. Iraola actually said that he wasn't sure for game week 12. He hasn't trained with the team yet, so I think that Semenyo is a 50-50 call at the moment. So I can see the temptation of playing the free hit. My only worry with playing the free hit in game week 12 is that I really like free hitting in game week 13. You will avoid having your Arsenal and Chelsea players play against each other, so I think it kind of depends who you have on your bench to cover if Semenyo doesn't play, to be honest. I think at least two of them will start, to be honest. And so and Semenyo, if both are benched, I think you're a bit unlucky. Guehi has been past fit as mentioned, so he will most probably play against Wolves. Really good fixture for Guehi. I'm glad that I have Munoz. I have actually I, I was actually considering to bring in Richards as my 4.5, so I can upgrade Kudus to Bruno Fernandes if I downgrade Gabriel to a 4.5. I looked at the fixtures, really good rotation for Van de Ven and Richards, but of course I'm already triple up on Crystal Palace, so no chance for me to bring in Richards. So my plan at the moment is to sell Kudus and bring in Bruno Fernandes. Gabriel will most probably become Van Hecke, the 4.4 Brighton defender. I will have him in a rotation with Rodon, Van de Ven. I think this is good enough, especially heading into December. I will have a strong team. Pakita, he will be back as well soon. He would only miss game week 12. NGI on the bench and Van de Ven as well. So, of course, not the best fixture for Van de Ven playing against Arsenal away, but if you have NGI on the bench, I'm not really sure if it's worth a free hit, to be honest. I think it's probably wise to just save the free hit. Start Semenyo. I think Semenyo, he will either play or not play at all. NGI against Man United. Of course, he's on penalties. He can, of course, do something against Man United as well. So, seeing that you have NGI on the bench, my advice would be to just save the free hit. Trust your bench, and NGI, he is actually a really good FPL asset. Yeah, so to sum your question up, I think that having Enzo Fernandez, Semenyo, Guehi, of course, I can see the temptation of going for the free hit because there are some small issues with all of those players, but I think Guehi and so will probably start. Semenyo, it's a 50-50 call, but I think that he will either start or not play at all. So seeing that you have NGI on the bench, I think this is good enough for game week 12. I will probably play my free hit in game week 13 to avoid having Arsenal and Chelsea players play against each other. So of course we can get information about a postponement. I think it's probably a bit too late, but the Chelsea against Burnley fixture has been rumored to be postponed because of the weather, but can't really see this happening at the moment. So the Chelsea against Burnley game or Burnley against Chelsea game will most probably go ahead as planned. We haven't had any information about any double game weeks as well, so Crystal Palace, they could, because of their participation in the Europa Conference League, they could potentially have a double game week, but we would have gotten this information by now, I'd say. So probably no postponements in game week 12, no double game weeks. So the free hit chip, of course, it can be used in game week 12, but I think it's better in game week 13. Game week 15 is also a really good game week to use the free hit chip. So I've actually made a video about chip strategy. So if you're interested, go check that video out as well. And if you're interested in having your team reviewed, head over to X. It's the same handle as here on YouTube. It's at FPL TFS, and post a picture of your team, and I'll get your team up on the screen. Virat Kohli, hi, thanks for joining in. How are you? So even though Erling Haaland and Man City have a tough fixture, Erling Haaland, he is still the book's favorite for anytime goal scorer. Arsenal, tough fixture for them as well, playing against Spurs. They have looked decent attacking wise in some of those fixtures so far this season, but Arsenal, they are still the favorites to keep a clean sheet in game week 12. So when it comes to Gabriel replacements, I think that Timber is a good option if you don't have any other Arsenal defenders. But if you have Raya in goal, I think I would go for someone else, to be honest. Gabriel to Van Dijk. I think this is a solid move. It's maybe a bit template, and especially if you're on X, following some of those moves is probably a bit template and boring, but I think it's really, really solid Van Dijk with those fixtures, especially considering that we're heading into December. We know this will be a really hectic period with a lot of games. We will have 2 midweeks in December. So Virgil van Dijk, definitely one of the most nailed on players in the league. So yeah, selling Gabriel to bring in Van Dijk is a good transfer. I could potentially do this myself, downgrade Gabriel to Van Dijk, but I also have Kudus in my team. He will potentially play in game week 12, but even if Kudus is fit, I'm actually tempted to sell him. So Kudus to Bruno Fernandes. So I think Bruno Fernandes, he is in the same category as Van Dijk. He will most probably play most minutes even if Man United have a lot of fixtures. I think Bruno will play a lot. So if I had a bit more funds in the bank, I would probably do something like Gabriel and Kudus to Van Dijk and Bruno Fernandes, but I can't afford this. So Kudus to Bruno, Gabriel to a 4.5, and at the moment I'm leaning towards Brighton's centre back Van Hecke. So Gabriel, he is the most sold player ahead of game week 12. He will drop in price tonight as well. I think that if you still have Gabriel, you should sell him tonight. I will make my transfer tonight before the price drop. So Gabriel, Kudus, they are actually two of the most sold players, and they might drop. For Gabriel, this would be the second price drop ahead of game week 12. So I will sell Gabriel this evening. The same goes for Kudus. The most transferred in players is Mbumo. I already have Mbumo in my team, but I might actually bring in another United midfielder. So Mbumo, I'm a bit surprised to see those numbers close to 600,000 transfers in. He will leave and travel to AFCON in game week 16. Thiago, close to 500 transfers in. I think that he is a good transfer, to be honest. Good value on penalties, nailed on to play up front for Brentford. So this transfer makes sense, especially if you have the likes of Gyökeres and Van Dijk. He has joined the top 3 list for most transferred in player ahead of game week 12. So close to 300k transfers in for Van Dijk at the moment. So Virat Kohli considering to sell Gabriel to Van Dijk. I think this is a solid transfer. This is my team. I will make a couple of transfers. Let's have a look at my options. I will just keep Pakta because of the price is only priced at 5.9. So Kudus, he will be the one to leave. So Kudus out, and I can bring in, let's see, Bruno Fernandes in. So I would need to free up some funds for this. Let's have a quick look at my options. So Gabriel, I will have 4.5 for a replacement. Edwin FIFA, hi, I'm getting rid of Gordon with 7.6. Who would you bring in? Rice and Sar out because of triple ups. Okay, so we're already triple up on Arsenal, already triple up on Crystal Palace. 7.6 million. So if I were to bring in a midfielder, at that price point, I would consider Gakpo. Of course, he will see some rotation going forward, but at that price, with those fixtures, I think that he still will be really, really good value. Enzo Fernandez as well, with the news about Enzo Fernandez being fit and the fact that Cole Palmer will miss even more game weeks because of a broken toe. Enzo Fernandez, he will remain on penalties for Chelsea, and the fixtures looks good as well. So he is an option. I know that Enzo Fernandez has been sold a lot, but he has trained with Chelsea, and Enzo Maraske confirmed that he is fit ahead of game week 12. So Gakpo, Enzo, if you would like to take a bit of a punt, Minte is a really good option as well. Really good value, only priced at 6 million, and Brighton, they have some good, solid fixtures going forward. He has looked really threatening, good stats for Minte, so he could be an option as well, and this would save some funds as well. So there are some good options at that price point. So before the Gabriel injury, I was planning on selling Kudus, and the two players I was looking at was Enzo Fernandez and Minte. At the moment, I have decided to go for Bruno Fernandes, and this would mean a downgrade to a 4.5 from Gabriel. Virat Kohli refresh. Let's see. Thank you. I already have Enzo, but Gakpo looks a good option. Yeah, definitely considering the Liverpool fixtures. Especially if you don't have any Liverpool assets, I think having Gakpo is a solid option. One of the reasons why I'm going Bruno Fernandes is the fact that he is on penalties. It's more nailed compared to Gakpo. A bit more expensive, of course, but at that price, I think Gakpo is a really, really good option at the moment. Refresh, let's see. Let's head over to X. So if you're interested, head over to X, post a picture of your team. I'll get it up on the screen. So Virat, is this the correct team? I had two different posts. So this was the first one posted. Let me know in the chat if this is your team. That's not my team. I was the team above. Okay, I'll take a quick look at both of them. So this is Virat Kohli's team. Raya in goal, Gabriel in defense, Richards, Senesi, and Van de Ven, Saka, Gakpo, Semenyo, Sar, and up front Joe Pedro and Erling Haaland. Beto, Kyrgios, Michele. So there are a lot of strong assets in this team, but there are a couple of question marks as well. Semenyo, will he play? I think it's a 50-50 call at the moment, but if I had Semenyo, I would probably just keep him. But of course, Gabriel, he is a sell at the moment. So with this team, you're in a similar position compared to me, to be honest, because I have Kyrgios, Gabriel as well. They will be transferred out. So my plan is to sell Kyrgios to bring in Bruno Fernandes and downgrade Gabriel to a 4.5. So this could potentially be an option for this team as well. Kudus to Bruno Fernandes, Gabriel to 4.5. And this double transfer would let you bench Van de Ven as well. So we will start the new defender that you bring in, and you will get your Kudus replacements into your starting 11 as well, and Van de Ven on the bench. I think this would be a strong team for game week 12. Kudus injury. The Kudus, he might potentially play in game week 12, but I don't really rate him as a good FPL asset going forward, to be honest, considering the fixtures as well. So Kudus out, I think this is good transfer at the moment. And together with Gabriel, so you're in a similar position. So Kudus to a Man United midfielder. They have good fixtures. Man United, they have looked good going forward. So Mbumo, Bruno Fernandes, even Cunha, seeing that Sesko will miss the next couple of game weeks, Cunha will play up front. So there are actually 3 possible midfielders from Man United to select from at the moment. So you have 3 free transfers. Amad Diallo is actually 4. He will potentially do well going forward as well. He has really impressed me this season, to be honest. Not that much goal threat at the moment, but he can pick up assists. So Amad Diallo definitely an option as well. So Kudus to Amad, Gabriel to Van Dijk, and bench Van de Ven. So if you think that Amad Diallo will do well, this would free up some funds as well. So yeah. Go for it. So Kudus to a Man United midfielder, Gabriel to someone to make this possible. And I would definitely bench Van de Ven, especially seeing that Saka is your captain. Nice to see that you have Gakpo. I was discussing Gakpo a couple of minutes ago as well. So Captain Joao Pedro, he will definitely start, and it's definitely one of the best fixtures. So Joao Pedro, decent punt. I think game week 12 is a good game week to go against Erling Haaland, seeing that he will play away against Newcastle at the St. James's Park. So if you look at in the graphics, he is actually the bookie's favorite for anytime goal scorer, but it's really, really close. I think Erling Haaland. Of course, I watched the games for Norway as well, so he is definitely in form. He can, of course, score against Newcastle, but I think that with the captaincy in game week 12, I think going against Erling Haaland this game week is fine. So, yeah, bench Van de Ven, sell Gabriel, sell Kudus, Captain Joe Pedro, and hopefully this will be a green arrow for game week 12. See if we can fit this team in as well. So this is right honorable. Palmer injury. Yeah, Palmer, he was actually starting to get back from his groin injury, but he has managed to actually get injured at home. So he's broke his toe. Not really sure what happened there, but he will miss a couple of extra games. So Cole Palmer not back until game week 14, 15. So yeah. Sandri, thanks for joining in. Can you look at my team? Team ID is 113026. Yeah, definitely. I will look into it, but let's have a quick look at this team as well. It's from Right Honorable Zeus. Raya in goal. Van Dijk is already in, so you have most probably done the Gabriel to Van Dijk transfer already. Anderson. I like the fixture for Fulham playing at home against Sunderland. I know that Sunderland, they have impressed us, but Fulham, I think this is a good fixture for them. Senesi as well at home against West Ham, so a decent defense. Actually, seeing that you have Richards on the bench, this is a really strong team. Double up on United midfield with Mbumo and Cunha. Saka is in, captain Semenyo. I talked about Semenyo, I think it's a 50-50 call, but seeing that you have Richards on your bench, I think it's fine to just keep Semenyo. Up front, Erling Haaland, Mateta. I really like this team. Krupa Jr. as well. So a well-balanced team. Some punts in there as well. Some safe options. So seeing that you have Erling Haaland, you have Mateta, you have Semenyo, and Bumo, you have Cunha. I really like this punt. Sar as well. Van Dijk. I think this team will do well in game week 12, to be honest. So no new transfers needed. Gabriel to Van Dijk done already. Captaincy on Saka. I like this punt as well. Talked about going against Erling Haaland. I think this is just fine for game week 12. I will most probably do it myself. So Richards, Krupa Jr., solid bench. I think this team is good to go. So this is Sandri's team from game week 11. Scored 44 points. Solid. Green arrow for game week 11. Raya, of course, a bit disappointing. I had double Arsenal defense myself with Timber and Gabriel. I actually brought Gabriel in ahead of game week 11, so really frustrating seeing that he only got 1 point, and of course the fact that he got injured as well. But it is what it is. You have Guardiola. I really like him. I talked about him in my wildcard game week 12 video as well. Richard, solid option. Bruno Fernandes, Caicedo, Pacta, Semenyo, and up front Pedro, Haaland, and Mateta. So with this team, you can potentially start Senesi in game week 12. Reinders will probably miss out. Pacta will have to be on your bench. He will miss game week 12. Michele. So with this team, I would most definitely replace Gabriel. Of course, I think this transfer with Gabriel to Van Dijk, it's a bit boring because it's so common, but I think that it really makes sense. So even if you post on X in the FPL community that you're considering to sell Gabriel to Van Dijk, you will probably be called a bit boring because this is template, etc., etc. But whatever, I think it's a solid option. So selling Gabriel to bring in Van Dijk with this team, seeing that you don't have any other Liverpool assets as well. I did Gabriel, Semenyo, Randers to Munoz, Rice, and Bruno Guimaraes. You talked about Bruno Guimaraes before. Big punt, and hopefully he can do well going forward. Decent fixtures for Newcastle, of course, not the best fixture in game week 12 playing against Man City, but I think that he potentially could be a nice differential going forward. So transfers done with this team. I talked about Gabriel to Van Dijk, but Sandri, he has actually made his transfers. So Gabriel and Semenyo, they are both gone. Munoz is in. I really like Munoz, so you have a double up on the Crystal Palace defense. I like their fixture for game week 12, so I think this is a good idea. Randers is gone as well, and Rice and Bruno. So Rice, of course, a solid option. He will continue to pick up defensive contribution points. He's on set pieces for Arsenal at that price. I think he is good value. And Bruno Guimaraes talked about him as well. So I like those moves, and especially if you avoided taking a hit. I think those transfers looks really good. Would you pick one of the United boys over Saka for captaincy? I think Saka is a decent captain option. You had Cunha and Mbumo. I think that if Mbumo were the first choice penalty taker for Man United, I would probably go Mbumo, but seeing that Bruno Fernandes will most probably continue taking their penalties, I think Saka is a really good option as well. So yeah, Saka. I had 3 free transfers, so those 3 free transfers for free. I think this makes sense. And as mentioned, right, honorable Zeus, I would just keep the captaincy on Saka, to be honest, especially if you don't have any Spurs defenders in your team. We would call it mini league. Yeah, if you're interested, go join my mini league. So I made a new mini league for those live streams. So I only post the code when I do live streams. So if you're interested, check it out in the scrolling text at the bottom. I think the link is in the description as well, already in. Let's have a look at the mini league. I'm already in and I'm winning. Ooh. I haven't really checked since the last stream. Maybe it's not a good idea for me to check. Leagues and cups. This is the TFS Live League. So this is a new league. The reason why I'm showing this is because I'm actually on top. So if you're interested in joining this league, the link is in the description down below. I only post this link for those live sessions, so all of the players in this league, they are actually FPL managers that have joined by watching my Q&As and the live stream. So old mini league. So Viracoli, I have a couple of other leagues as well. I actually made a couple of mistakes when creating head-to-head leagues, stuff like that, because they got closed for entries after the next game week started. So this is one of the reasons why I had to create a new mini league. But see, we're at Kohli. But when you join, our points gone old game week points. It's probably not this one. This was the first league I created during preseason. It has a lot of entries. So I was actually ranked 151 in this league. So there are a lot of entries in this league, and I posted this over on X as well, and that's the reason why there are so many entries in this one. But I think with this league, I don't really have a clue who most of those guys are, but yeah. Let's check. You probably talking about the head-to-head leagues. Second in this one. $18.12 at the moment. Let's see if I can get this on. 18-12. I need to do better in this one. 6 wins, 4 wins for me, 18-12. So this league, I think it's closed for entries, unfortunately. The head-to-head league, yeah, I remember this. I made a new head-to-head league, but the same thing happened to that league as well. So I actually given up on the head-to-head leagues, and that's why I created the classic league, and that's the one that's linked in the description down below. So this is a big head-to-head league. It's actually only 2 teams in at the moment. I'm trailing. I need to do better. 6 wins, 4 wins, but it's possible for me to catch up, of course, and hopefully it can be 15 points for me after game week 12. I had this other league as well. Next season, I will definitely make sure to have 1 head-to-head league and 1 classic league. It's starting to get a bit hard to keep track of all of those leagues. I'm not doing any better in my next league, so but well done, Virat Kohli. 6 wins, only 4 wins for me, so it's a close race, but Virat Kohli, he is the leader at the moment. So my transfer plans this game week is to sell Kyrgios and to sell Gabriel. Really want Bruno Fernandes. I think that he is a solid option heading into December. So Bruno Fernandes in, and I will have 4.5 for my replacement. At the moment, I'm really considering to bring in Van Hecke. Beto to a cheap for Mbumo and Konate, or Ahmad and Van Dijk. You can potentially downgrade Beto because I don't really rate him at the moment. He's not nailed on. Everton not scoring that many goals. Not on penalties. Njai is the first choice penalty taker. So doing something like Beto to Guiu could potentially be an option. I think his price has gone down to 4.2 at the moment. So this would, of course, let you upgrade in other areas of your team. So that could be an option as well. Downgrading Beto to allow you to spend more of the funds in the starting 11. So Beto to Guiu and keep him on the bench. And Bumo and Konate, I think this looks really good on paper at least. Liverpool have really good fixtures. Konate, really good value. Of course, I think Van Dijk is a bit better, but considering the price, Konate is a really good option as well. So if you have the 3 free transfers, possibly something like Beto to Guiu to bring in Mbumo and Konate, yeah, that could work. Semenyo or Gakpo on a wildcard. Was edging Gakpo, but heard Alexander Isak was playing off the left in training. So when Wirtz is back, he could share with him and Alexander Isak for one spot. So this is, of course, one of the problems with Gakpo. They have a lot of good attacking options, so I don't really think that Gakpo will play every game week during December, but at that price, playing for Liverpool with those fixtures, I still think that Gakpo is a really good option, to be honest. So he can score from the bench as well. So as long as he's fit, he will start most games and he will come on and play 30 minutes in the games. He will not start as well. So I think that he will start most probably 4 out of 5 games, to be honest. So I actually think that Gakpo is a really good option. He's on my watch list. I mentioned Gakpo in my watch list in the right-hand corner as well. So on a wildcard, if it's between Semenyo and Gakpo, I would definitely take a punt on Gakpo. Considering the ownership as well, Gakpo is less owned. Semenyo, even if Semenyo is one of the most sold players ahead of game week 12, his ownership is still really, really high. So betting against Semenyo at this point, I think this is a good idea, and Gakpo is a solid option. Semenyo to Mbumo or Semenyo to Gakpo? I'm not sure if it's worth a transfer selling Semenyo. I think it's if you have decent bench cover. I think it's a 50-50 call when it comes to Semenyo. Will he start or not in game week 12? I think he will either start or not play at all. On a wildcard, I would definitely go Gakpo, but using a transfer to sell Semenyo at the moment. I actually rate Gakpo at the moment, so Semenyo to Gakpo is probably worth it. The problem with Semenyo to Mbumo and using a transfer on this is that you will have to sell Mbumo ahead of game week 16. He will travel to AFCON, so this is 2 transfers used. Of course, it can pay off, but I have sent my team. I will go check Konate playing. I think Konate will start. Don't really see Slot changing up his centre back pair at the moment. They have some injuries in defense. Frimpong is injured. Please check I've sent my team. You'll get an idea. Sorry, I have a bad habit of forgetting to check on X, so please make sure to send reminders in the chat if you send your team Wish Malatra. Let's have a look. Semenyo to Gakpo or Mbumo. So this is Wish Malatra's team. His question is Semenyo to Gakpo or Mbumo. So let's see. You have Cash. I think he potentially will play, and you have Senesi on the bench. So that's decent cover. Semenyo 50-50 call. I really like this defense. You have Raya, you have Cash, James, Richards with Senesi on the bench. So none of those players are playing against your midfielders or forwards. So I like this defense. You have Sar as well, good fixture. Bruno Fernandes at home. Gravenberch. I'm not a big Gravenberch fan, but at a price, I guess he's solid. Semenyo. The thing with Semenyo is that I can see the temptation of selling Semenyo, but is it worth using a transfer considering that Bournemouth have a really good fixture at home against West Ham? So West Ham, they are one of the teams that in some games they have been terrible. So in game week 1, game week 2, they looked awful against Brentford in game week 8 as well. So is it worth using a free transfer to bring in Gakpo? He will see some rotation. Is it worth using a free transfer to bring in Mbumo? He will be gone ahead of game week 16. I have 2 free transfers. Of course, we will get 5 free transfers in game week 16. So if you decide to bring in Mbumo, those 5 free transfers we get in game week 16 will be precious. So you can, of course, just sell Mbumo in game week 16. So probably Semenyo to Mbumo. So he will play game week 12, 13, 14, 15. So 4 game weeks of Mbumo. I think that potentially selling Semenyo to Mbumo probably it's worth it, especially considering that we'll get 5 free transfers as well. So especially if you want to take a bit of a risk, Semenyo is kind of a shield pick at the moment because of his ownership. So I think that selling Semenyo actually is a good idea at the moment. Not the best fixtures going forward. So after giving this a second thought, I think that Semenyo to Bumo probably is a good transfer, to be honest. Playbell, hello brother, hello, thanks for joining in. Just sent my team on the tweet. We'll give this watch United play Palace next week. Yeah. Can potentially have a double United midfield in this fixture and potentially bench Richards. He's only priced at 4.5, so having Richards on the bench, I wouldn't worry too much. And Gakpo's minutes will be decent, given that Wirtz is injured. I think the injury to Wirtz, of course, this is good news for Gakpo, but when Alexander Isak is back, when Ekitike is back, Mo Salah on the right, they can potentially line up with Mo Salah on the right, Alexander Isak or Ekitike as their number 9. I think Alexander Isak potentially can play a bit to the left as well. We've seen this both for Sweden and Newcastle earlier as well. So I think that Gakpo, he will get good minutes. I talked about him 5 minutes ago. I think he will start at least 4 out of 5 games, and in that 5th game where he's benched, he will most probably play 30 minutes and can of course do something from the bench. So Gakpo is a really, really good option, to be honest. I like Gakpo, but the thing is that Mbumo has looked so dangerous when playing for Man United at the moment. He will travel to AFCON, but we will get 5 free transfers in game week 16. So the thing is that in game week 15, we actually have to use all of our transfers, not to let any transfers go to waste. Semenyo to Mbumo done. Thanks a lot, genuinely. So hopefully this will work out. I talked about Mbumo as a bad pick because he was traveling to AFCON, but after giving this a second thought, we actually have to use all of our transfers in game week 15. You will most probably not have that many problems with your team, so you can sell Mbumo in game week 15, or of course wait until game week 16 when you get those 5 free transfers. So seeing that you don't have that many players traveling to AFCON, bringing in Mbumo is just fine ahead of game week 12. Playbill, let's have a look at your team as well. So this is Playbell's team. I think this is good enough. Let's have a look. Raya in goal. So this is a 4-3-3. I think actually playing 4 at the back more often makes sense at the moment, especially seeing that the defenders, they are actually some of the best players when we consider points so far in the season. So Richards against Wolves, Timber, Virgil van Dijk, Senesi, a really solid defense. This you most probably have done the Gabriel to Van Dijk move already. Double up with Mbumo and Bruno Fernandes. I might have this myself in game week 12, and you have Semenyo in midfield. Up front, Thiago, Holland, and Mateta on the bench, NGI, Mukiele, and King. I really like this team, to be honest. Semenyo, of course, he might miss out in game week 12, but seeing that you have NGI on the bench, this is good enough. Mukiele as well can potentially do well, seeing that you don't have any other Fulham players playing. You have a Fulham player, but he is last on your bench, Josh King. 2 transfers made this week. Van Dijk in for Gabriel and Thiago in for Voltmade. So hopefully this will work out. Of course, Gabriel to Van Dijk, this will most probably be a really good transfer, even though it's a bit template, but really, really solid. Of course, Fault Mother, not the best fixture, so I think that it makes sense selling Fault Mother, but this transfer might, of course, backfire as well. Anthony Gordon, he is out. Fault Mother will be the first choice penalty taker for Newcastle, and he's actually done well for Germany during the international break, but I think Thiago is a really good option as well, and a really good price. So solid value is on penalties for Brentford as well. So this might be really, really good transfers. I really like this team, to be honest, and I would do the same. Potentially start NGI, of course, but I don't really see which defender I would bench. Probably, it's a close call for me between Senesi and NGI, and this is most because of NGI. He is taking penalties for Everton, but if you think that Bournemouth can keep a clean sheet against West Ham, I would just start Senesi. Of course, he is one of the defenders that is doing best considering the new future defensive contributions. So I think Senesi is a good option as well. Greetings, brother. Prem football is back. Yes, I'm really, really looking forward to the games this weekend, to be honest. I'm really, really excited. Sell Gabriel for Van Dijk or Munoz. I think it's a really close call, to be honest. I really rate Munoz at the moment. I have Munoz in my team. Van Dijk is a good option as well. Of course, it's not that much between them. It's Munoz 5.7 at the moment. Van Dijk 5.9. Van Dijk, he will rise in price tonight, while Gabriel will drop. So I think this transfer should be done tonight, but especially if you don't have any other Crystal Palace defenders, I would go for Munoz, to be honest. But if you have Guehi, if you have Richards, I would probably go for Van Dijk. As a Man United fan, I benched Njai, but in for Semenyo if he doesn't play, not a problem. Yeah, I think it's a 50-50 call for Semenyo. I think he will either start for Bournemouth or not play at all. So you might get Njai off your bench. Munoz gives an exciting option. Yeah, really good attacking stats, and he's really a fun player to watch. I watched the last couple of Crystal Palace fixtures, and he's always getting into attacking positions. So especially if you're going to watch the next couple of Crystal Palace fixtures, it's really, really exciting to own Munoz. So yeah, my advice would be to go for Munoz, but if you have Richards, if you have Guehi, I would probably go for Van Dijk. I think he's a really good option heading into December as well. Will play 90 minutes week in, week out, and he can do something on set pieces. So attacking threat for Van Dijk as well. Will Bruno get a hat trick like he did for Portugal? Probably not, because he will be my transfer this game week. I have Bruno for now because of penalties, and last week I had Mbumo. So all this talk about Bruno Fernandes, I will just go ahead and confirm my fixtures this game week. So this is my team at the moment. On the bench, I have Van de Ven, I have Rodon, and of course Pakta on my bench. Kyrgios is injured, Gabriel is injured, so they will be my transfers out. Kyrgios to Bruno Fernandes. To afford this, I need to downgrade Gabriel. Let's see, I have 4.5, and I will probably just bring in Van Hecke. So I might actually take a hit this game week. It will be the second hit of the season. I really rate Bruno Fernandes for the same reason as I like Van Dijk as well. Really, really good minute plays close to 90 minutes every game week. So kudos to Bruno Fernandes, Gabriel to Van Hecke. Let me know in the chat, is this a yes or a no? It will probably be my transfers this game week. I will probably just do it right now. So should I just confirm? So the thing is that Gabriel, he will drop in price tonight. I will lose 0.1 if I wait until tomorrow. So I will just do my transfers this evening. Do you have 0 in the bank with this? So I have 4.5 Van Hecke. He is currently 4.4. So I have 0.1 in the bank with by going Van Hecke. I can do something like Truffert, the Bournemouth left back as well, but the rotation between my other bench defender Van de Ven and Van Hecke, it's actually a decent rotation between them, and this is one of the reasons why I'm interested in getting Van Hecke. I think it's definitely nailed on to start for Brighton, and with a rotation together with Van de Ven, I think it's solid heading into December. -4 is a little risky. Yeah. I kind of agree with this. I wasn't really planning on selling Gabriel, to be honest. But after the news that he will miss a lot of games, so he's out for potentially 1 to 2 months, and this can potentially be 8 game weeks. So I think that Gabriel definitely is a sell at the moment. So kudos. My plan before the Gabriel injury news was to do something like kudos to Enzo Fernandez or Minte, but after the Gabriel injury news, I saw an opportunity to bring in Bruno Fernandes by downgrading Gabriel. So Bruno has found form, confirmed the transfer. You have lots of injuries. It's kind of tricky. I have been really, really unlucky with transfers so far this season. I started with both Saka and Cole Palmer, and they both got injured in game week 2 and game week 3. Why Van Hecke? The reason why I'm going Van Hecke is the fact that he is priced at only 4.4. And Brighton, they have a solid rotation with Spurs. So I have Van de Ven on my bench. I'm not really confident in the Spurs defense, but by having Van de Ven and Van Hecke in a rotation, I think this will set me up well going forward. FPL Dennis, good evening, mates. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining in. How are you? And are you ready for game week 12? I'm about to confirm my transfers this game week. Gabriel, he will drop. I will lose 0.1 if I wait until tomorrow. So I will just make my transfers tonight. I'm really close to just push the button. Gabriel to Van Hecke, Kudus to Bruno Fernandes. Playable, same. I have both Palmer and Saka. I had Esri Konsa as well, picking up a red card. So my plan was actually to play my bench boost in game week 3, set my team up for this, but in game week 3 I actually had to make transfers to have 11 starters. So I actually played my wildcard back in game week 3, and I have actually only gotten green arrows since game week 3. Who are the best defenders 4.2 or under? I would probably go for a Leeds defender. Gudmundsson or Rodon, possibly. They have shown that in at least the easier fixtures, they are really good value. They can pick up clean sheets, and especially Rodon, he can score, and Gudmundsson can pick up assists. So I think it's really close, but my advice would be to actually go for Rodon at the moment. He's probably gone up to 4.1, while Gudmundsson is still 4 million. I haven't really checked this, but show us your team again. Let's see. So this is my team at the moment. I only have one free transfer, 0.3 in the bank. At the moment I have Rodon, Van de Ven and Pakita on the bench. Bruno Fernandes and Van Hecke, they are actually Gabriel and Kudus. I already own Gudmundsson. Probably 4.2. There aren't that many great options. I would probably look at Sunderland or possibly Esteve. I think his price has gone down to 3.9. So especially if you're not having to play this player week in, week out, Esteve at 3.9 is probably a good option at the moment. So Burnley, they have picked up 2 clean sheets so far this season, and he can pick up defensive contributions. So I still think that Esteve is a decent option, even though his price has gone down to 3.9. Yeah, you definitely need another defender and a midfielder due to injuries. What is your total budget? My total budget, I have 0.3 in the bank, so my total budget would be 15.2 million. 15.2 million. I could, of course, go for someone like Esteve instead of Van Hecke, but the thing is that I actually need this player to play and start in game week 12. I can, of course, play Rodon, but Aston Villa, they have looked a bit better recently, so I don't really think that Leeds will keep a clean sheet against Villa in game week 12. I'm definitely going to bench Van de Ven. Not really interested in playing Van de Ven in game week 12, even though I don't have any Arsenal attackers. So Van de Ven on the bench, Pakita of course suspended, will not play in game week 12. Rodon, don't really rate Leeds' chances of a clean sheet in game week 12, so Rodon, Van de Ven, Pakita on the bench. Can you please talk louder? It's so soft. Tried at least to get my microphone a bit closer, so hopefully this will help. I think I would prefer Anderson instead of Van Hecke, but it's up to you. I can go for Anderson. Let's see. This would leave nothing in the bank. Let's have a look at the fixtures. So game week 13, game week 14, playing away against Spurs, at home against Man City. So in game week 14, Spurs, they play away against Newcastle. So in game week 14 already I would have problems. So I need to play one of Van de Ven or the defender I'm bringing in. So in game week 14 I would have to play Van de Ven away against Newcastle or Anderson against Man City. So one of the reasons why I'm really interested in Van Hecke is the fact that Brighton and Spurs, they have really good rotation. I will avoid playing against strong teams. Does Semenyo start 100,000%? I wouldn't say that it's 100,000% sure that Semenyo starts. I have said that it's a bit of a 50-50 call from what we heard on the press conference. He hasn't trained with the team, so I think at this point that he can potentially start, but I think that if he doesn't start, he won't play at all. So if you have decent bench cover for Semenyo, I don't necessarily see him as a sell, but I have talked about the possibility of selling Semenyo to bring in someone like Mbumo as well. So Anderson instead of Van Hecke, of course, solid, good fixture in game week 12 playing against Sunderland, but I think I will just confirm my transfers. So Van Hecke, I like the fixture better in game week 14. Brighton, they will play at home against Aston Villa. So I would rather have Van Hecke at home against Aston Villa compared to having Anderson against Man City. So I think I just go ahead and get this over with. So transfers done. This is my game week 12 team. Hit taken. Bruno Fernandes in. MK06, should I do Paqueta to Bruno Fernandes and risk Semenyo, or take a -4 to do Paqueta and Gabriel to Timber and Bruno, or Saka and a 5.6 def? Sorry if you've already answered. Paqueta to Bruno. I think if you have the available funds to sell Paqueta and bring in Bruno Fernandes, so if I had the funds to just do Paqueta to Bruno, I would do this. One of the reasons why I actually sold Semenyo is the fact that he was priced at 6.5, so it was easier for me to select another midfielder. Paqueta's price 5.9. It's not that many good options around this price point, so this is the reason why I sold Kudus And Gabriel, I downgraded him to Van Hecke. Playable MK, it depends on the rest of your team. Of course, I think I agree. It's kind of hard to answer some of those questions without seeing the whole team, but I think that Paquetá to Bruno Fernandes is a good option. Risk Semenyo. I think with this question, I think it kind of depends on who you have first on your bench when it comes to Semenyo. So if you have Semenyo in your starting 11, I think this is just fine, especially if you have a decent option first on your bench. So if you have someone like Richards, if you have Senesi on your bench, I think that starting Semenyo is just fine. If Semenyo misses out, I will have King and Gudmundsson. That's why I was thinking of taking a hit. So I don't necessarily see Josh King as the worst option, to be honest. Do you want my team? If you're interested, head over to X and post a picture of your team and we can get it up on the screen for a quick discussion if you're interested. So it's the same handle as on YouTube. It's at FPLTFS over on X. You're basically in the same situation, yeah. So there are a lot of teams, of course, in the same situation this game week. One of the most selected defenders, Gabriel, out for up to 2 months, and this can potentially mean that he will miss 8 games. He is the most sold player ahead of game week 12. His price will drop tonight. Semenyo as well, one of the most selected midfielders. Will he play or not? We're not really sure at this point. So there are a couple of decisions to be made ahead of game week 12. So if you're interested, head over to X FPLTFS. I would really appreciate if you watch my other videos as well to help with the watch time. That would be really appreciated. But head over to X, find the Q&A game week 12 posts and post a picture of your team. I don't plan on taking a -4 for transfers, only in an extreme emergency. Too much benching headache. So of course, if it's possible, my advice is usually to avoid taking hits. I have taken 2 hits so far this season. This is my second hit of the season. So my transfers are done. I've sold Gabriel, I sold Kudus, both injured. I brought in Bruno Fernandes and Van Hecke. I could potentially pick another 4.5 defender, but I really like the rotation between Brighton and Spurs. So I will start Van Hecke and I will start Van de Ven next game week. So they have a decent rotation, so I will avoid having my defenders play against strong teams. In game week 13, I will have Munoz play against my double United midfield, so I can potentially bench Munoz next game week, but really decided on my game week 13 team yet. I might actually play my free hit in game week 13. I talked about this in one of my videos as well, and I have selected a solid game week 13 free hit team, so If you're interested, go check that one out. Rodri Gavriluta, thanks for joining in. My ID, let's have a look at your team. It's 9, 7, 32, 9, 4, 8. So not the best game week for Rodri Gabriluta in game week 11, unfortunately. Played the bench boost, 37 points and a red arrow. It's never a good feeling getting a red arrow the same game week as playing one of your chips. But let's have a look at how this happened. So bench boost played Vicario and Dubravka, Munoz, Timber, Gabriel. So of course a bit unlucky with the Arsenal double up. Gudmundsson is in, Semenyo missed a penalty. Esse, Sar, Enzo Fernandez. Really unlucky with Enzo as well. He could have hauled in game week 11, to be honest. Up front, Jared Bowen, Captain Erling Haaland missed a penalty as well. Welbeck, NGI, and Senesi. So a lot of penalty takers in this team. You have Semenyo, you have Enzo Fernandez, Erling Haaland, Welbeck, NGI. Bit unlucky in game week 11, to be honest. So a solid team. I think this ahead of game week 11, this looked like a really good bench boost team, to be honest. I would potentially have Gudmundsson on the bench, Welbeck or NGI in the starting 11, but a solid bench boost team. I think this is a bit of bad luck, to be honest, getting a red arrow with this team. Should I free hit in game week 12 or just sell Gabriel? I think that you don't have Joao Pedro, but you have Enzo Fernandez. By saving the free hit for game week 13, you can potentially avoid having Enzo Fernandez play against Timber and Esse. So this is one of the reasons why I'm really considering to play my free hit in game week 13. Bro, I asked you for my team way before you never checked, you donkey. Terribly sorry if I missed your team. So have you posted a picture of your team over at X? I checked a couple of times. I didn't really see any new teams, but I might have missed it. I asked you to check my team so long ago and you ignored it. Why? It's most probably because I haven't really seen any pictures. So did you post your team ID or did you post a picture? This is Radi Gabrieluta's team. I think that just selling Gabriel, you have a strong bench, so you can afford to start Semenyo. It's a 50-50 call. Will he start? Will he not? I think that if he's not starting, he will potentially not play. So we will get potentially NGI off from your bench. Gudmundsson to the bench. Gabriel. Seeing that you don't have any Liverpool players, probably Gabriel to Van Dijk is a safe, solid transfer ahead of game week 12. Team ID 61. Let's have a look. Terribly sorry if I missed it. There we go. So is this the correct team? Hopefully it is. 55 points. Another team that played the bench boost. Luckily this team got a green arrow for game week 11. Let's break it down. We'll just try to get it a bit more centrally on the screen. There we go. So in this team we have Petrovic starting. 1 point, Shaloba, 6 points, another 6 points from Munoz, Calafiori. Another player that's a bit uncertain ahead of game week 12. Hopefully he will start. So we have both Calafiori and Semenyo. Bruno Fernandes is in Mbumo, so a nice double up on the United midfield. Saris in Mateta as well, so triple up. The same triple up as I have from Crystal Palace. Erling Haaland, Joao Pedro, so the same front line as me as well. Who would you start for game week 12? Let's see. On the bench, Anderson, Senesi, Caicedo. So I think with this team, I would just start Calafiori. I think he's in the category the same as Semenyo. I think he will either start or he will not play at all. So this goes for both Semenyo and Calafiori. So I would just start those players. And I would potentially have Senesi first on my bench for the good fixture against West Ham at home. Caicedo, he played 180 minutes during the international break. Enzo Maresca said on the press conference that he hadn't really seen Caicedo yet. So he might actually be rested because of the long travel as well. So I don't really rate Caicedo in game week 12. Really good player. He can potentially pick up defensive contributions, of course, in every game week. But if Caicedo is not starting, I don't really see him as a good FPL option, to be honest. So my advice would be to just keep Caicedo on the bench. Senesi first, Anderson second bench, Caicedo last on the bench. Start Semenyo, start Calafiori, and you might need Senesi and Anderson. So Senesi at home against West Ham, good option. Anderson at home against Sunderland is a good option as well. So no transfers needed with this team. Shaloba against Burnley could do well in game week 12. So so you will have a really strong bench, but you might actually need your bench because of the injuries to Calafiori and Semenyo. But start those guys. Of course, this is not 100% sure, but I have a feeling that they will either start or not play at all. It will be really, you will be really annoyed if you had Semenyo on your bench, if he holds and you have Anderson starting and conceding against Sunderland. So start Semenyo, start Calafiore would be my advice. So if I think this team was good enough for a game week 11 bench boost, totally made sense to bench boost with this team in game week 11. Unfortunately, your bench did not deliver as expected. So 2 points from Dubravka, 2 from Caicedo, 2 from Senesi. Bit unlucky, same as Radi Gabrieluta, as we just saw 5 minutes ago, but it is what it is. I think that if you still have your bench boost, I think it's time to just pull the trigger and get it out of the way. There will be a lot more rotation going forward. There will be 2 midweek game weeks during December. So I talked about this in a video where I'm discussing the best chip strategy up until game week 19. So this season we have 2 sets of chips, and one of the chips have to be used before game week 19. So if you have your bench boost, if you have your free hit, if you have your triple captain, if you're interested on my advice on when to play those chips, go check that video out. It's linked in the description down below, and of course you can find it on my channel. Hello mates, how are you doing? Thanks for joining in. All good. Really looking forward to the games this weekend. I missed the Premier League football, to be honest. I have watched a lot of international games. Watched both Norway games. A really good game from Erling Haaland and the Norwegian national team playing against Italy. Bad first half, but actually managed to score 4 goals against Italy and won 4-1. Sending my team need thoughts on playing bench boost. Definitely head over to X, post a picture, and I'll get it up on the screen. So I just talked about the bench boost. To be honest, if you still have your bench boost, I think it should be activated soon. There will be a lot of rotation during December. This is usually one of the months we see most rotation, and this season we have 2 midweek game weeks in December as well. So post a picture under my latest post and I'll get it up on the screen. This is my team after making 2 transfers. Actually took my second hit of the season. I have sold Kudus, I have sold Gabriel to bring in Van Hecke, and my main target was Bruno Fernandes. I could have avoided the hit, of course, but to bring in Bruno Fernandes, I had to downgrade Gabriel. So I think that Bruno Fernandes is a really good asset going into the hectic schedule in December. So Bruno Fernandes, Van Hecke in, Gabriel and Kudus out. My captain at the moment is Mateta. I'm a bit tempted by Bruno Fernandes as well. Might actually Switch to Bruno Fernandes. Scored 3 goals for Portugal during the international break. Everton, not the worst defense. Mateta, definitely the better fixture, but it's away for Palace. Man United playing at home against Old Trafford. I think it's a really close call between Bruno Fernandes and Mateta. I talked about this a couple of times, but I think that game week 12 is a really good game week to go against Erling Haaland. So at the moment, it's between Mateta and Bruno Fernandes. In the captain poll, Erling Haaland, he is the favorite, 59%. Mateta 9, 16 for a United midfielder. So Rocks sending my team. Need thoughts on playing the bench boost. Let's see if this team has come in. Can't seem to find your team just yet, but you have done this a couple of times before, so you probably know where to find my X account as well. So the question is, should I take a hit to replace Gabriel and activate my bench boost? So let's have a look. It's a double up on the Arsenal defense with Raya, Timber, Guehi. He will potentially play. Senesi, solid option as well. Minte, Semenyo, Sar, Soboslai, Mateta, Pedro, and Haaland. So Petrovic, solid option on the bench. Enzo Fernandez against Burnley. Ballard against Fulham. So I really like those options. So selling Gabriel, bringing in a starting defender, someone like Van Dijk, and playing the bench boost. But my only worry with this team is that there are a couple of question marks. Will Semenyo play? Guehi has been injured. Enzo Fernandez has been injured. I think Guehi and Enzo Fernandez will start. I'm a bit unsecure when it comes to Semenyo, but just send, please check. Yeah, hopefully this is the right team. I like the idea of getting the bench boost out of the way. I like the idea of selling Gabriel. He can potentially miss up to 8 game weeks. So I would be really tempted to take a punt on Semenyo and that he will start in game week 12. I like the fixture at home against West Ham. So selling Gabriel to someone like Van Dijk. Munoz is a really good option, but I think you already have a triple up on Palace, so Munoz, he is not an option. Semenyo is my only fair, yeah. Seeing that you have Enzo Fernandez, he is passed fit by Enzo Maresca. Can you have Enzo Fernandez, the first choice penalty taker, with one of the best fixtures? Petrovic, your goalkeeper on the bench with a decent fixture, playing at home against West Ham. I think definitely sell Gabriel. I think it's a sell. He will drop in price tonight. He will potentially miss 8 game week. So sell Gabriel, bring in someone like Van Dijk and play the bench boost. You think I should get Gakpo, Semenyo out? I have gotten a couple of similar questions when it comes to Semenyo. I think it kind of depends on who you have first on your bench and how many transfers you have at the moment. Using a transfer on Semenyo, of course, you might start in game week 12, so at home against West Ham, this is a good fixture, so you might regret selling Semenyo, but Gakpo, he is a really good option at the moment. Good fixtures for Liverpool. Wirtz, he's injured. I think this means that Gakpo will get a lot of game time going forward. I think Gakpo, I talked about this a couple of times, so I'm kind of repeating myself, but I think that Gakpo will start 4 out of 5 games for Liverpool going forward. So Gakpo, I think that he is a really good option. Is it wise to use a free transfer on selling Semenyo? I think, as mentioned, this kind of depends on how many free transfers you have at the moment. Will it be worth a -4? And this is the Gabriel to Van Dijk move. I think actually because of the fact that you still have your bench boost, I think it's actually worth a -4. Gabriel, he is a sell either way because he can potentially miss a lot of games. And you will have a decent bench boost for game week 12. The thing is that when playing your bench boost, you would like to avoid having your defenders play against your attacking players. So next game week, in game week 13, you will have Joe Pedro playing against both Raya and Timber. So Enzo Fernandez and Pedro against Timber and Raya. This is not ideal, of course. So with this team, I would potentially consider using my bench boost this game week. And if you still have your free hit, a free hit in game week 13 can potentially be a good strategy as well. As mentioned, in game week 13, you will avoid having Joao Pedro and Enzo Fernandez play against your goalkeeper and Timber. So I made a video about chip strategy. So if you have your wildcard, free hit, triple captain, or bench boost left, my advice would be to go check this video out. After the stream, of course. One of the reasons why I think it's worth a -4 is the fact that Van Dijk will play every game week, even though there are a lot of fixtures in December. I'm only left with bench boosts. I still think that getting the bench boost out of the way in game week 12 is a good idea. So between game week, is it between game week 13 and I think game week 14 is a midweek game week. Let's check. Let's go check. So game week 12 deadline on a Saturday, game week 13 deadline on a Saturday, but in game week 14 we have a Tuesday deadline, the 2nd of December, game week 15 just 4 days later on the 6th of December. Game week 16 is a Saturday deadline, 17 a Saturday, and then we have a Friday deadline, and then we have a Tuesday deadline. So there are a lot of fixtures from game week 12 up until game week 19, and this is the last chance of using your bench boost. So I actually think that game week 12 is a decent week for it, especially seeing that you have a starting goalkeeper with a decent fixture as well. Actually, we had a look at a couple of teams from Rodri, Gavriluta, and not really sure how to pronounce this name, Mick Pechan. Mick P. Chance? Mick Pechance? Not really sure how to pronounce it. Terribly sorry if I got this wrong, but they played their bench boost in game week 11 with really solid looking benches heading into game week 11, but didn't really turn out the way they hoped. Got like 8 to 10 points from their benches. At least Mick Perchance he got at least a green arrow in game week 11, but Radi Gavriluta actually played his bench boosts and got a red arrow. So this is of course a possibility. So the bench boost, even though if you do a lot of planning, you might have bad luck. Of course, I will show you another example of really, really bad luck. I actually played my bench boosts, let's see, in game week 8. Oops. So this was my bench boost in game week 8. It went good enough, 71 points and a green arrow for me in game week 8. I had Dubravka 9 points and Jai 4 points. Fabian Schär, he did not play, so 0 points. And Van de Ven, he picked up a yellow and conceded 2 goals, so 0 points for him. So I got 13 points on my bench. It was a 50-50 decision for me to play my bench boost in game week 8 or wait until game week 9. And let's see what would have been if I played my bench boost the next game week. So in game week 9, let's have a look at this bench. It would have been 40 points extra if I just waited one more game week with my bench. So my bench boost looked a bit better in game week 8, but if I waited until game week 9, I would have gotten 40 points. So Dubravka, Sar, 2 points from them, but Rodon, he scored 13, and Van de Ven 23. So I was a bit unlucky with my bench boost this season. Hopefully I will get another bench score like this in the second part of the season, and hopefully this will be the game week where I actually play my bench boost. But this is my team ahead of game week 12. 2 transfers made. Second hit of the season is confirmed. I will start Sanchez in goal, playing away against Burnley. Hopefully Chelsea can keep a clean sheet. My transfer in this game week, Van Hecke, playing at home against Brentford. I will have Munoz against Wolves, really good fixture, and Timber against Spurs. In midfield, I will have a double up on Man United with Mbumo and Bruno Fernandes. And Jai will play in this fixture as well. And I have Sar and Mateta. So Mateta, he is currently my captain. Holland is in, and I have Joao Pedro. I'm tempted by Bruno Fernandes' captaincy, but at the moment it's on Mateta. This might change, to be honest. It's 50-50 between Bruno Fernandes and Mateta for me at the moment. On my bench, I have Dubravka, I have Rodon and Van de Ven, and Paqueta, he is suspended, so he will definitely be on my bench. I saw your post. Hard luck is really a gamble. Yeah, I was a bit unlucky, but I think that if I played it in game week 9, on the other hand, would have been really, really lucky. So I think that getting 13 points as I did was fair enough, I'd say. We saw a couple of examples of teams with 8 points with their bench boosts as well, picking up red arrows. So at least I got a green arrow and 13 points. So it's all good. All good. But thanks all for joining in. let me know if you have any last questions. The game week is 13 hours away. It's time to get some hours of sleep. I have done my transfer, so hopefully I will get a nice rest tonight and be ready for the games tomorrow. I'm really excited for game week 12. I think this team looks really good on paper. Have some players with really good fixtures, so I actually have a lot of captain candidates in this team. Mbumo and Bruno Fernandes could very well be captained. Erling Haaland, of course, but I think it's a good game week. I talked about this. I think it's a good game week to go against Erling Haaland, but Bruno Fernandes and Mbumo can easily be captain. Joe Pedro as well. We've discussed him on this stream. I think that Joe Pedro is a decent captain punt for game week 12 as well. And Mateta is currently my captain. So I actually have 5 potential captains in this team. And I think that Sar he has a decent fixture as well. Wolves, they are actually one of the worst defenses recently, so really looking forward to game week 12. I don't have any of my defenders playing against my midfielders or forwards, so hopefully game week 12 will be another green arrow. So thanks all for joining in. Best of luck for game week 12 and have a great weekend. I talked about this a couple of times as well. If you're interested in watching my team selection video or my AFCON video, I made actually 4 videos ahead of game week 12. So it's a regular team selection video, wildcard and free hit video. I made a video about which players traveling to AFCON and important dates. And I also made a video about chip strategy. So if you're interested, go check those videos out. But thanks for watching and hopefully I'll see you next time.